Hello and welcome to the Quantum Bridge with myself, Casper, my co-host Gary, and more important than all of that, we've got a couple of guests with us today. Yeah, that's right, too. So, Gary, without further ado, across to you, mate, to do the intros.
Thank you very much, Casper. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone watching, or good evening, wherever you are. Yeah, like Casper mentioned, we've got two guests. It's the first time we have had two people with us before, Zoltan and Ballant from My Chalgar, but this is the first time we've had two previous guests join us at the same time. And it's the first time they've met. They are familiar with each other from social media, but this is the first time in person. So
You're bridging that then, are you? You're bridging.
We're creating bridges. This is the whole point, right? So I would like to welcome Adam and Ryan back onto the show and welcome them again to the audience. Hello, guys. Good morning. Are you keeping well? I notice it's June and we're all wearing jumpers. They've all come back out. I nearly got the hoodie out. I was like, man, this is no good.
But acclimatized to the scorching temperatures that we're apparently having.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. So I thought maybe we'll start with Adam, just because he joined us. I've got a little note here. His video actually went out last year on the 27th of May. And knowing us, it was probably recorded quite a while before that. But that's it's been over a year since Adam's video went out. Adam, how have things been over the last year for you? Busy?
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long ago, does it, actually?
I know, yeah.
It's gone so quick. Yes, good. Yeah, really good. Busy, but, you know.
Yeah, I noticed you're doing quite a lot of these different series of these sort of film themes now, isn't it, I guess?
Yeah. That's that came about with the Halloween like stuff. I don't know. I just enjoy it. So
yeah, brilliant. I like them. Yeah, it's good fun, isn't it? To see. And Ryan has been. I think it was February this year. There you go, 23rd of February. Your video went out. Not as long, but in some ways it does seem longer. So, but how have you been since February? I know you had some ups and downs. I suppose I did. You sort of went off a bit after the video.
Yeah, I think I went quiet for a little bit because just stuff going a bit rocky, like in personal terms and like some family members around me. But I just thought I'd take a step back and take a break. But then also reassess my position. So that's like making a lot of changes at the minute.
Yeah.
Try and adjust my life for the better.
Yeah, I think we all know about the ups and downs. I think me and Casper have a fair share of dark places, dark periods. I'm sure a lot of the audience can relate with that. But I was going to talk about more of the sort of positive stuff if we can. I know it's a bit mad in the world, but I was watching something recently on Brother's channel, and his channel was older than ours, but he still sort of started really getting back into it around about a year ago. We've been going, I suppose, a year and a half, and I was listening to something on his channel where it's like a filmmaker guy, and was talking about how his career over the last year has really sort of skyrocketed, I suppose. And I sort of compare that. We've done shows about parallel worlds, and you've got this sort of crazy stuff going on in one way, but there's also this kind of creative timeline and moving away from that stuff. Are you guys feeling that? Where do you think you are? Hopefully on the good stuff, but maybe Adam, because you've been at your creative work for a while, but are you feeling any sort of increase in energy, or is it the same old thing, or how are you feeling about it all?
In terms like recently, I feel like there is a big shift. Like within like the past like month, I feel like people. Does anyone else feel like there's like an energy, like it's a bit chaotic, but it's kind of like I feel like it's swirling towards like a positive kind of energy, you know. But overall, I have lived probably since about August last year, I muted every topic that could possibly come onto my feed that was going to like shout at me that to be scared and fearful. Muted all of that off my feed, and now people tell, like, if I meet people out in the real world, they talk to me about World War III, and I'm like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Like apparently we're close to like Armageddon or something, but I've completely muted it. It's a bit like the Bill Hicks little bit that he does, where he's talking about CNN and the fear and war, famine, disease, and then he looks out the window and it's just like crickets. It's just a nice day out there. And that is kind of how it's been to me. People are talking about this stuff, but when you go outside, everything's normal.
Yeah.
So it is a parallel. There is a parallel to like the online or TV, and then the real world, where people just going about their daily business. People still have fun.
Yeah.
People, people.
Maybe these will collide at some point. Who knows? But yeah, there could be some rocky.
I've just taken the thing. I'm not gonna like. There's nothing I can do about it. If we're going to war, what can I do? Like, there's literally nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I just have to enjoy like my time, focus on what I'm doing, because it might not happen, and then here we go.
It's a big thing of not worrying, trying to get out that what might happen, rather than actually saying, well, I'm going to create this reality for myself, and we'll see where that takes us. Just keep creating. Yeah. That's how we've been doing it. It's yeah. And for yourself, Ryan, you've got some new business plans or things. How are you finding that sort of split? Are you managing to avoid the chaos and the madness?
Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons I took. Well, when I took that break and I come back, and similar thing to Adam, I was usually quite heavily involved in every topic as it was coming out and talking about every little thing, and you kind of reassess everything. You're like, is this adding any benefit to my life? Is it progressing me forward? Not really. So it was like, I need to just start like focusing down on myself, which is what I've been trying to do for the most part. So yeah, I think I've made the big changes, and not letting all that negative energy in has like made a big difference. Just getting back into the gym, and then yeah, got my new business, which is launching very soon, which I'm building up at the minute. Whereas previously I probably would have spent that time ranting on Twitter, which adds probably zero change and zero benefit to me. So yeah, I tweet a lot less, but doing a lot more work for me. It's kind of the way I've gone.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was speaking to another guy that we just put out his video, Alan, or it's known as Alpine on there, and he's in this similar transition as well, of that sort of old world dropping away. And it's nice to see someone like Adam. I find it inspiring that he has found a way to, I would say monetize, but be able to live that life of being a creative. It's not easy. It's I mean, I'm sure as Adam knows, it's hard work. And I would ask you, how do you find that balance with, you have to make a living, but you want to be creative as well, but you are having to churn things out to make sure there's constant sort of material, if you like, or stock. But you want to be creative as well. You are having to churn things out to make sure there's constant sort of material.
It is like, I don't want to make any sort of illusions about it. It is like tough. I think we spoke about it last time. Like, I was very fortunate that I started in 2019, so I've only really been doing this for like 5 years, and then everything kind of fell apart in 2020. I didn't think that in the beginning of 2020, like around like the lockdowns, I thought maybe this won't continue, because I don't think it's going to be people's priority to like buy artwork, or however it was going to go. But the key is just consistency, right? There's been ups and downs, but kind of like the thing around like these collections that I've been doing, where they like run for like a month, and every day I do like a new piece. It's just about consistency, and then like if you expand that over time, like a larger time, like a year, as long as you're putting new things out there, then you are kind of in a sense kind of like creating like a reality where they are like more possibilities. Does that make sense? Like what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of.
If you were writing a book, and I think there's a lot of people that do this. They want to be a writer, and then you say, okay, so what have you written? And they will have like not even written a page, right? They might have the idea, but they haven't taken that first step yet. So it is about like consistency. If you were going to write a book and you write like a chapter a week or something like that, you will put in like the energy into it, and on the other side of it, you get a book at the end that you can put out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I think it will to Casper, because you're writing something at the minute, aren't you, Casper? You're doing.
Yeah, I've been writing. Yeah, I mean, one of my books, the Benjamin Hope series, I've been writing for about 3 years, and it's I don't know where it's at, but if it was published as a book rather than as an audio thing that it is on YouTube at the moment, gradually being put out in chapters there. I mean, it's well, let's put it this way: it's probably about 60 chapters already. So you're talking about probably 1,000 pages worth. And I'm writing 2 other books at the moment as well. I just totally agree. You just got to do it. Now, what happens to that? It's a bit different for Adam. He's doing it and he's putting it out almost simultaneously, and he's getting sort of real-time feedback, both commercial feedback and that nice thing of having an interaction with the sorts of people that might buy his material or do buy his material. It's a bit different in terms of writing, unless you're doing a blog or something like that. You don't get that real-world immediate feedback. But a lot of it's just about exactly that. It's nothing more difficult or sinister or whatever than just doing it and making sure you do it every day. And if you want to call yourself a writer, whether published or not, you've got to be writing, right? If you want to call yourself a runner, you've got to go out and run. There's no point buying the best shoes in the world, right, and never going running. In the same way as there's no point having wonderful ideas and never, putting them into some format that can be taken, and also where you can be not just where people can say you're good, but where people can say anything about you, bad, whatever they might do. And I think that's the other thing that holds a lot of people back, is that even if they're doing the work, are they ever going to be willing to actually put themselves out there in the sense of being knocked down? And that's, part of it. And hats off to people like Adam, anybody who creates stuff and actually puts it out there, because of course not all feedback is necessarily what you want to hear.
I just want to quickly add in there, because you are touching on like a really good point, is that putting it out, for me, it's a necessity, right? I can't really go sort of like I couldn't go like 6 months without putting anything out there, because to be honest, like my income would suffer from that, right? So
you wouldn't be eating anymore.
That's it. It has to be like, for me, that's the method that works right now. It's just consistently putting out work. It could be the same for you're talking about a book. Like a writer could do this in a way. They could, let's say, to put out a page of what they've written to gain feedback directly. If that was like a page a week, and then that's also promoting the book itself, because then in a year's time, when you finish the book, you would have amassed like people that are interested or invested in that story already. As long as you're not giving too much away. Like,
well, that's right. It's a delicate balance, but I agree.
Yeah. So Ryan, what is this business you're doing? What kind of thing is that? Is that something that you like how do I term it? New world business, or is this just a getting by type thing?
Yeah, it's probably a mix. Basically, it's like a rugby clothing store, but for anyone who's sorry for the M62, it's rugby league, not union, because that's where my passion sits. But yeah, but it's kind of combining one business that, like, unfortunately, I had to stop due to some of the personal stuff, but I learned a lot of, like, to do with social media marketing, which is how to get the website out there. And then I'm building, so I built the website, and I'm currently just uploading products on, but it's like using some new light stuff I've learned, which, like, it's called print on demand. So, like, I don't need to, I do all the designs for all the clothing and everything like that. Don't need to hold the stock. It's like when someone places the order, I'm connected to a warehouse which will print and ship it for me. So obviously the margins are lower, but then you don't need the capital to, like, get it going. So that's the kind of route I've taken, and I've not used this personally, but obviously something which might be controversial for Adam here. A lot of people in this space that have set up their own business use AI for a lot of the designs and stuff, or some do use like graphic designers and artists as well. So I've not quite got to that route. I've kept the basic designs at the minute, and then as I gain momentum on it, then I'll start looking at expanding it beyond that. Because obviously you'll do a range, but then you're going to need, like, saying, once people have bought that top once or whatever, like, you need to then keep putting out newer and fresher products out there to keep them interested in the brand.
Yeah, I mean, you had a chance here to wear one of these designs. I mean, what's happened? I know Adam now.
So I got it yet.
I'm not wearing the Quantum Bridge stuff, I must say, but then I'm here every time.
We do sometimes.
I do sometimes. But it is an interesting point that you made, because we're also looking at this type of thing, having some merchandise and this. It was interesting. I found that you could do this stuff these days. You know, like you say. I mean, Casper will know, and I know, when we've dabbled in business here and there. There's usually that old school element that you had to buy physical stock and loads of it, and then. I mean, especially when you're getting into clothing, Adam will know this as well, because you got all the different sizes and you don't know what's going on. I think it was part of our research, because of the sort of the audience that we had. We thought, I was looking for somewhere that deals, with organic clothing and ethical stuff and UK based, and very difficult to get the actual garments made in the UK. But it was like, okay, at least the printing and things is, so that took a lot of finding. And then it's the designs and stuff. It depends how much you want to do yourself. But is this something you do, Adam? Do you do a lot of your own printing with your shirts, or I know you do your prints of your artwork as well?
Yeah, so recently I moved over to printing my own prints, which limits me to size a little bit, but it helps me crank out prints quicker. And I haven't got to rely on somebody else to be doing that for me. Also, because sometimes I've run into issues with print shops where they might not agree with, like, the person that I've painted, and they've cut the stuff like ridiculous, and it's just, it's a bit of a hassle. Sometimes that might make me hesitate to, like, do a print. But yeah, so I've taken on, like, the art prints. I've bought, like, a professional, like, printer and stuff, which is actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more involved, but it's actually, like, so far gone pretty good. But with the clothing side of things, I'm doing exactly the same as Ryan, and it's print on demand. There's no way I'd be able to buy, like, enough t-shirts all in one go to invest that amount of money, because you are talking, like, thousands of pounds if you wanted to go in the way of, like, buying all the sizes, to have them there ready. I guess you could do pre-orders, but again, it's kind of like you would need to reach a certain number of pre-orders to be able to make, like, any profit really from them, to like, offer them at a decent price. So print on demand is kind of like the way to go, and I think that's the way a lot of people, like, do it, unless they are really established, like, already.
Yeah, it's the same thing with a lot of publishers, isn't it now, Casper? Is it?
Yeah, I don't think many. Well, certainly if you're self-publishing or something like that, or you're putting out something where you've got to test the market a bit, where you haven't already got maybe a name, or you've built up enough of a sort of order base, a pre-order base. Yeah, I think just the idea of printing now 10,000 books and hoping they sell is not necessarily the most commercial way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting that we have all these tools now, and I think it's. I suppose my wife mentioned something that sort of made me think, because sometimes we'll put a video out and it's kind of like you get 20, 30 views or something. You think, wow, is that? I mean, Adam will know again. You guys on your social media, maybe you've seen that. That interaction drop in, even though you guys have got a much bigger followings. I don't know how you find that in that sense. Are people as engaged? Part of me kind of likes that. I think, okay, well, maybe they're not just sitting around watching vids and social media. They're out doing stuff, right? And that's a good thing. But she also mentioned to me that it was like, well, maybe the channel's about this type of thing. The connections, the meeting the people, creating networks and stuff. Now, it's it's nice to know. I'm not going to bombard Ryan, but he understands some websites. So, you might be able to at least ask a question or some advice, things like we're doing here, asking Adam about his printing and things. And you never know when people even need a little bit of advice or some of the work. You can always go to Adam for different designs. I know he works in lots of different formats of media as well. Even with the AI, which we do play around with, but we won't get. Again, it's another tool that allows us to create quickly rather than be reliant on things. But how are you feeling with that, with the engagement? Do you feel it's the same thing there, or maybe people are getting a little bit tired of it, like you guys have? Maybe let's go with Ryan first.
I think it's a bit of a mixture. I think there's a lot of people which are, like I said, doing more outside of social media, which is always a good thing. But then I do think there is a dip. Like again, the ones that always garner the most attention seem to be like the negative and like provoking people a little bit. And I notice some of them still get a lot of engagement, but I think that's just going to be forever social media. I don't think it's always the fear stories or someone kicking off that's always going to gain far more attention than one being positive. And like I've noticed that for a while, like there's quite a few people which have got big accounts with like who constantly promote positive messages in a way to improve. They don't get loads of engagement, but I suppose it's the quality as well of the people that's following you, like as well. I think if the right people, if you're reaching the right, I'd rather have 10 people following me where I've given them something that they might improve off than like 100,000 people where it's just me ranting about something and they're just like, yeah, and that's it. You're providing no like benefit there overall.
The bigger picture stuff. Yeah, I think I'll ask Adam the same thing, but I've noticed as well. He's noticed. I'll do like maybe the odd joke, and for me that'll get a handful of likes. I think. But the serious stuff, it's like, and I think I've seen Adam do that. He'll put something out, and it'll get way more engagement, like a throwaway comment, than the actual artwork. So, how are you finding that, Adam?
Yeah, well, I think Ryan's like spot on there with you'd rather have 10 people or whatever the number, right? I have just over 11,000 followers, right? That's taken a long time to like build up, and like that is a big. That really frustrates me. Like I do feel like there has been like interference on everybody's accounts to like suppress like certain things, or to even entice you into talking about certain things, because I feel like now you have to talk about like the topic of the day. I feel that is a big thing now. You have to engage some way in that to be kind of like seen within the algorithm. But what I do notice is that, and I'm really appreciative of this, is that you kind of over time you build up your core sort of like support, people that really like what you're doing, and they might not always see a post, but they always check back and they always come back and they want to know kind of like what you're doing.
It's a time of finding your tribe, I think they say, which is it's an interesting time we live in like that.
And I think then if you can sort of like maybe focus on those people, right? If you have like 10 people that are kind of like always showing up, don't worry too much about the 90% of people that are not, like, either not seeing it or not interested, you know? Like, I'm sure if people weren't interested, they would like unfollow me, as like people do that, and that's fine. But the people that are supporting you, they're the ones that are going to share your work and, you know, like comment and buy from you, or, you know, like there's lots of like ways that kind of like focusing on the people that are like in your circle basically is a lot more beneficial than kind of like always trying to look for the people who aren't. It is about growth, but people that are going to help you grow are the people that are there, that you kind of build up over time, that keep coming back.
Yeah, definitely. And to me, it seems like that. I know you've got to hit all these points to get paid on these sort of social media sites and things, and I look at it, I think, I'm never going to hit these impression targets and things, because I don't know, you just have to be posting, like, to me, verbal diarrhea all day. You know, I've got better things to do than. I think, well, that's what I'd have to do. I'd have to keep posting. It's pointless to me. But I guess those larger accounts that are already in that sort of sphere, maybe it's beneficial to them, I guess.
Well, the other thing is, if you are making your living, you know, from social media, then of course you have to take a different view of it. I mean, if you didn't have a 3D job, right, and if all we could do is generate income from whatever the Quantum Bridge does, you know, outside of obviously just producing a lot of product of whatever type, or offering some type of consultancy role or something else we might be able to do, we would be forced to have to play in that environment a bit more.
Yeah. Yes, if we was going to do that, because we haven't built this as a money thing, so it kind of feels pointless to. We wouldn't want to tarnish the energy, really. So just by keep posting stuff just for the sake of it. But
I think that'll have the benefit longer term, though. Like, if you're authentic and you're just doing your thing, that's easier over a long trajectory. Like, you find some of these people that jumping on each topic at some point, they're just going to get burnt out, or someone's going to call them out on one thing to another. Whereas if you're just doing what you do, it'll just might take longer, slow growth, but it's more sustainable, I think. Well, it's just the frustrating part of watching it build slowly is the hard part.
Yeah. Well, we've only got a few minutes left, so maybe quickly go around. Are you guys optimistic then of where we're at and where we're going? Adam?
Yes. Yeah, generally, yes. Like I say, I feel like there's that's kind of not been there for maybe a year, maybe two. Things seem a bit like more positive in some ways. Maybe that's just me muting a lot of things off of my timeline.
That's how it can work, though. You're creating your own reality. Yeah. Are you feeling good, optimistic, Ryan? At least.
Yeah, 100%. And like I think there is a bit of a shift in the mood though as well. I have noticed that. I think it's like we've kind of got to go through that hard bit and then come out the other side. But that just could be me because I'm making my own improvements again. Like I'm ignoring a lot of
all
the noise.
there, it's all the journey. And I know, Casper, you're feeling good, aren't you? Adam, yeah.
I was just going to say that's a good point as well, because that is really the key to it all. Because if you think about everybody as a collective, if everybody's miserable or thinking like everything's bad, we've just gone through this like bad time. I think we had like a good bit of unity like in 2020, 2021. Obviously, it's hard to sustain across like millions of people, right? But I think people need to kind of like look inwards a bit more. And I'm not saying like there's loads of people that are just like unhappy and not kind of like doing anything with their life. But I think sometimes you are distracted by outside kind of distractions, and just kind of like taking time to just do whatever it is. If you want to, if there's something you want to improve, like work towards improving it, and it does make your perception of reality does start to change.
Yep. As we always say, it's an inside job, and it until you start doing that, then you don't recognize the power in that. You have to start doing a bit of that, and then you start. It takes time for the external to change, but as it does, you think, oh, okay, it's actually I need to change perspective and things, and that will gradually change the reflection, if you like. So, a couple of minutes, Casper. Are you optimistic as well?
Well, I'm going to answer with that. I don't know if people here used to watch that series Monkey.
I do,
which I really like, with the staffs and the pixie and.
I don't know if these guys are old enough, but yeah, can't.
Yeah, well, there was in time gone by a series that was good fun, and you can watch it on YouTube and stuff now, I'm sure. Anyway, but anyway, as part of the intro to that, it was talking about the Buddha, and it basically said that with your thoughts you make the world, right, or your world. And I just think that is really it, you know. Whatever that outside expression may be, it's how you choose to meet it. And I think a lot of us have discovered that more and more, and that's become a more truism over the past few years than ever for most of us. It's always been true, but it's become something that we can all actually see made manifest. So I think with that in mind, I'm as positive or as optimistic as I allow myself to be. So.
Brilliant. So there you go. Thank you, guys, for joining us again. You got 4 of us here, somewhat optimistic, even with some of these other things looming. So it is a choice. So thanks again for joining us. Take care, guys. It's been great seeing you.
Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.